So again, it's great to meet you. I'm looking forward to getting to the album, and I want to begin our conversation with something that's kind of going away, but it still was such a big part of the musician community, which was getting through COVID. How much of getting through that time period has affected either this album or the way that you live your life now?
Um, I would say, I don't know. I mean, it was kind of hard for everyone, I guess, COVID time. For me in particular, like, like that time where like you don't know what's going on and everything you you did at that time felt like what's the point of doing this?
Yeah.
So like the ambition and the expectation and like everything kind of like rebalanced in a way for me at least and kind of change a little bit my perspective and priorities in life, I guess, if that's
Yeah.
something. I mean, there is nothing in particular for this album that happened from the COVID time. Yeah, it's not that I wrote this music during that time or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's more like a general feeling of how do I relate with music, or yeah, uh, yeah, how do you balance live music and like everything is happening and you think all these things. So yeah, there's not nothing in particular about the music I wrote for this particular album that it's related to COVID, but it kind of changed a lot of my perspective of different things relating to music and life in general.
Yeah, for sure. So talk to me about the album. What was kind of the artistic vision that you had for the project?
So for this album, I wrote I had the music in mind for this particular band. It's all Argentinian musicians. It's the band that I started playing like almost 14 years ago or something like that. So we start playing this music kind of together, like jazz, start playing jazz, just standards, and we kind of like developed this, like we were like students at the time, so it's like this band of like peers and friends. So it has that kind of thing happening. And also I kind of wrote the music imagining these people playing this music. Um, and I tried to like have like a song feel for every tune, like kind of like a direct melody somehow. It can be, like more on in your face, or it can be a little bit hidden, but there's always like a melody trying to grab the attention of the listener. I'm thinking like the way these guys play time, these guys interact with me. They got how do they, like read the music I write and
Yeah.
the relation with time, the relation with rhythm. Like I've been playing with these guys for a long time, so I kind of like try to imagine how this would work with them when I was writing this
Yeah.
music.
So what are you hoping the listener gets from this album?
Um, wow. uh, yeah. What it's really hard for me to impose something. Like I don't, it's not that I have an idea that I want to impose on the listener. It's more like just get so I hope people get surprised by the music and try to listen without any judgment in mind. Like, oh, this is this kind of music, this is this kind of jazz, this is this kind of improvisation, so this should happen. I try to surprise. I don't know, that may be a little bit pretentious, but I don't know. Like I try to always have again this song feel like communicate that what I think it's like communication, like it's hard to explain. I'm sorry. And I've been in Argentina, so my English is,
Yeah, no, you're
I'm
fine.
sorry about that.
No, you're doing great. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so to have this melody to grab the attention of the listener, kind of like catch the listener through these other landscapes, for lack of a better word that I can't
Yeah.
imagine right now. Yeah. So to get like, like to get into this kind of world, that's kind of what I'm hoping. And
Yeah.
without any, like, try to enjoy it without any intellectual feeling like, oh, these guys are doing this, or they're doing, like they're playing in 5/4, or they're playing this harmony or whatever. I don't want that. If Yeah, I want like more like oh, what's happening? Oh, I don't know really what's going on, but this is cool, that kind of thing,
Yeah,
if
totally.
that
I
makes
dig it.
sense.
So, how did this journey into the music begin for you? Take me back to where you were born and raised, and how did music become your life, and more specifically, jazz?
So I was born in Buenos Aires, late 80s, and I started playing piano when I was 7, no, 6 or 7, yeah, something like that. Um, and in my family, there was always music. My dad, my mom would listen to music. My dad specifically, like he was into jazz and classical music. He was a guitar player when he was a teenager, but he wasn't playing anymore when I was born. So I started playing piano, and I was really into like improvisation, just kind of like naturally, I guess, or something like that. I mean, my dad would listen to this music, and I was into it, and yeah, I started playing and going to concerts here in Buenos Aires, like jazz concerts. There was like a big scene happening in like early 2000s here with lots of people playing original music. So I was young, but I was into that. And then I studied here. I did like a few years of a classical conservatory, and then I studied like jazz here with musicians here in Buenos Aires, and then I went to New York to do a master's at NYU in 2014, and since then I've been there, yeah, playing and teaching, and you know,
Was it always a dream to come to America?
I mean, I I visited there like in 2012 or 2013, something like that, to like like to something, like if you're into this music, it's good to be close to New York.
Yeah, yeah,
And to listen live, to listen that to experience that music in a live setting. That's really important, I think. And I was there for like a few months, and yeah, I really enjoyed it, like the music. And I said to myself, like, yeah, I want to come back. And then I finished the, my studies here in Buenos Aires, and teacher said, yeah, you should apply for masters in the States, either in Boston or in New York. So I applied for different programs, and I end up in NYU. But when I went there, I wasn't thinking like, oh, I'm gonna move to the States and live in this. I was just, okay, I'm gonna do this master's program for a few years and then see what happens. And then 10 years passed by, and wow.
yeah. I get it. Who have been musical
So,
influences? Who have been voices in the world of jazz that you've emulated and looked up to?
you mean historical figures or
Just yeah,
alive or
musicians. Yeah, any jazz
yeah?
musician that you've looked up to?
Well, I mean, I really like people like Paul Bley, like Andrew Hill, Keith Jarrett, like to name pianists.
Yeah,
Duke Ellington is also really big influence. Um, yeah, Thelonious Monk, you know,
yeah,
to name pianists.
yeah,
um, I don't know. I've been listening to John Taylor recently, and I really enjoy that. Um, yeah, Mary Lou Williams, Jerry Allen also.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, I'm just naming pianists because up to,
yeah.
but
No,
a
that's
lot of
cool.
people, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And more recently, like Marilyn Crispell, Craig Taborn, Angelica Sanchez, Angelica, I don't know how she wants the name to be pronounced correctly. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, Jacob Sachs. Um, yeah,
No, that gives
I
me
don't
a
know.
good.
I'm sure I'm forgetting a lot of really,
Yeah,
really,
no,
really
that's
good
fine.
people, and I apologize, but
Yeah, no, you're fine. I just wanted to get a flavor. So, what is it that you like the best about being a professional musician?
ooh, well, I mean, I get to play music. I mean, I really like playing original music from other musicians. That's my favorite thing to do. Like to, like someone calls me for a gig or for a project or something, and they wrote a bunch of music and try to figure out how to put that music in a live setting or in a recording. Uh, I really enjoy that process of like, trying to play the music in different ways. Like if you're playing live, you're playing different concerts, try to figure out a way to play it differently every time, but always keeping the same vibe, the same intention of the song. So it's a mix for me of like composition and improvisation in a way that it's not that you're playing always the same thing, but you're trying to figure out like, oh, this song, what's the intention of the song? What's the core, what is this song about? And then try to figure out how to develop that into different things. So yeah. And I mean, I have the same approach with like classical music in a way where that improvisation is less, of course, a thing there. Um, and I hope to have it with my own music, but that's a little bit different because you're wearing also the composition hat. So it's kind of, but if you keep a distance with your own music, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, has there been a venue or a stage in New York that you played on that was a dream that you were like, I can't believe this is happening?
Well, yes. I play at Wild Recital Hall at Carnegie Hall for the Abby Whiteside series, the Abby Whiteside Foundation series, Sophia Rosoff presents. That's a foundation from this very, very, very important piano teacher, Abby Whiteside, and Sophia Rosoff, that taught a lot of jazz musicians and classical musicians and had this amazing perspective. I don't know if that's the right word of
Yeah.
like piano teaching, music making, and all those things, which I said with John Kamichka, who was the head of the foundation at the time. And that was really great. Like that was also nerve-wracking, but I mean, it was a great experience. But also, I have to say, like, it was great. I mean, I'm not complaining, but I like playing also like small clubs, like I don't know, like Bar Bess or Bar Bayou or um, yeah, like also like I played Maestro for some few months ago with Alan Medner Trio, and that's a great place to play. Feels really nice. The piano is great. I play also. I play at This Is with Lin Yang's Zodiac Trio, and that was really great too. But I mean, I like playing in big venues, like with good names, big names, and all that. That's one thing. But also like the connection you get, like at a small club or some place that maybe the piano is not the best, the sound is kind of tricky, but you figure out how to play, and that's also I also have fun doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if anyone wants to pick up the album, the best way to support you, where can they get it? See you live, any of the good news in your world, where do they go?
So the best way is going to go to Bandcamp and buy it there. That's
Okay.
the best for artists. It's Santiago Leibson.bandcamp.com. You can follow me on Instagram as Leibson, and there's a link to the Bandcamp album. That's the best. There are also like physical copies. If you want to order one, you can get one. You get it on the mail. And then I'm Right now, I'm presenting the record here in Buenos Aires, where I'm at right now. I have a few shows here in the city and a little bit out of town. We played last weekend out of town. And then I'm playing in New York. Not this music, sorry. Not this music. I mean, I don't have any date for this particular project in New York, but I'm playing in January with different bands. I don't know, I'm playing with Alan Bednar Trio, Close Up, January 16. I'm playing. Oh, I'm forgetting. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
I'm playing with Elsa. Well, Elsa Nilsson also at Bar by You in February. I can't remember exact date right now. And I have some gigs with Lim Yang's Zodiac Trio in San Francisco, LA in late January as well.
Okay, excellent. Santiago, thank you for your story. Thank you for your time. Best of luck with everything. Have a great holiday season.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
having me on the show. Thank you.
you bet.